There's a type of man women describe in private conversations that they'd never admit publicly. Not the loudest guy in the room. Not the one flexing status or chasing validation. The man they actually want is the one who doesn't need to prove anything because his presence does the talking. And in this video, I'll reveal the exact traits that make up this type of masculine energy, why women are biologically wired to crave it, and how you can become him without faking a single thing. Most guys think masculinity is about being aggressive, dominant, or loud. They puff their chest, talk over people, and think that's what attracts women. But here's the truth. That's not masculine. That's insecure. Real masculinity is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need validation. It just is. And women feel it instantly. The problem is, most men are performing a version of masculinity they think women want, instead of embodying the version women actually crave. And the gap between those two is massive. Let me show you what I mean. A few years ago, I was at a party, and there were two guys competing for the same girl's attention. One guy was loud, telling stories, making jokes, constantly checking if she was laughing. The other guy barely said anything. He leaned back, listened, and when he did speak, it was calm, direct, and low energy. Guess which one she left with? The quiet one. Why? Because his presence didn't beg for validation. It offered something she couldn't get from anyone else. Certainty. That's what real masculinity is. It's not about doing more. It's about being more. And when you become more, women don't just notice. They obsess. I like to call this the grounded masculine principle. It's the difference between reacting to the world and responding to it. Reactive men are controlled by their environment. A woman tests them. They get defensive. Someone challenges them. They escalate. They're constantly proving themselves because deep down, they're uncertain. Grounded men are different. They don't react. They respond. A woman tests them. They smile and hold frame. Someone challenges them. They stay calm and redirect. They're not trying to win every interaction. They're choosing which battles matter. And that choice, that calm selection of what deserves their energy, is what makes them magnetic. Women don't want a man who fights every battle. They want a man who knows which battles are worth fighting. That discernment is power. And power, real power, doesn't need to be loud. Now, let me break this down into the specific traits that make up this energy. Because it's not vague, it's precise. And once you understand it, you'll see why most guys completely miss it. The first trait is emotional self-regulation. This is the big one. Women test men constantly. Not because they're trying to be difficult, because they're trying to see if you're stable. If your emotions are controlled by external circumstances, you're not safe. You're volatile. But if you can stay calm when she's upset, stay centered when she's testing, stay grounded when life gets chaotic, you pass the test. She feels safe, and safety is the foundation of attraction. Let me give you a story. I dated a girl who would randomly pick fights out of nowhere. She'd say something sharp, clearly trying to provoke me. The old me would have taken the bait, gotten defensive, argued back. But I learned. One night, she said something designed to trigger me. I looked at her, paused, and said calmly, "You're trying to get a reaction. I'm not giving you one. We can talk when you're ready." She stared at me, shocked. Then, 5 minutes later, she came back, apologized, and said, "I don't know why I do that." That moment shifted everything. She realized I wasn't going to be shaken by her emotions. I was solid. And that solidity made her feel safe enough to let her guard down. That's emotional self-regulation. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about not being controlled by them. When you master this, Women stop testing you because they already know the answer. You're stable, and stability is rare. The second trait is purposeful direction. Women don't just want a man who's stable. They want a man who's going somewhere. Not aimlessly, not reactively, but with clear, self-chosen direction. This doesn't mean you need to be rich or famous. It means you need to know what you're building and why. Most guys live reactively. They take whatever job pays. They date whoever's available. They let life happen to them. That's not masculine. That's passive. Masculine energy is proactive. It decides. It builds. It leads. And women feel that direction like gravity. I'll give you an example. I used to date without direction. I'd meet a girl, see where it went, and hope it worked out. But I noticed something. The girls I attracted were equally directionless. They didn't know what they wanted either. So we'd drift until one of us got bored. Then I shifted. I got clear on what I was building. My career, my body, my life. I stopped chasing women and started building myself. And suddenly, the women I attracted changed. They were intentional, driven, high quality. Why? Because direction attracts direction. When you know where you're going, women who also know where they're going want to join you. And women who don't have direction don't even register on your radar. That's the power of purposeful direction. It filters, it attracts, and it makes you magnetic without effort. The third trait, and this one separates boys from men, is comfortable leadership without dominance. Most guys think leadership means controlling everything, telling her what to do, making all the decisions. That's not leadership. That's insecurity disguised as authority. Real leadership is different. It's making her feel like she has freedom while subtly guiding the frame. It's saying, "What do you want to do tonight?" when you already have 3 options in mind. It's letting her choose while making sure the options are all aligned with where you want the night to go. That's leadership. You're not controlling her. You're creating the container where she feels free to be herself. And women crave that container. Because most men either try to control everything or control nothing. Real masculine men do neither. They guide without forcing. Let me show you how this plays out. I was planning a date once, and instead of saying we're going here, I said, I'm thinking either this rooftop bar or that Italian spot. What sounds better to you? She picked one. I made the reservation. She felt like she chose. I ensured the frame. That's leadership. You're not dominating, you're guiding. And when you guide without force, she follows willingly because it feels like her choice. That's the difference between dominance and leadership. Dominance forces. Leadership invites. And women only follow invitations. The fourth trait, and this is what makes everything stick, is detachment from outcome. This is the hardest one for most guys because it requires genuine internal security. You can't fake this. Detachment from outcome means you're invested in the connection, but you're not attached to whether it works out. You're interested in her, but you don't need her. You enjoy her company, but your happiness doesn't depend on her staying. That detachment creates freedom, and freedom is intoxicating. I learned this when I stopped chasing a girl I was obsessed with. For months, I was texting constantly, planning dates, trying to make it work. She could feel my attachment. It repelled her. Then I let go. Not bitterly. I just refocused on my life. I stopped initiating. I stopped planning. I stopped caring if she reached out. Within 2 weeks, she was back. She texted me, asked to see me, and when we met, she said, "You're different. I feel like you don't need me anymore." I smiled and said, "I don't, but I enjoy you." That shift flipped the dynamic. She went from feeling chased to feeling like she had to earn my attention. And that's when she invested. That's detachment from outcome. You're present but not dependent. You're interested but not desperate. And that balance makes you irresistible. Now, let me tie this all together because this is where most guys lose the thread. Every girl wants a man who's emotionally stable, purposefully directed, comfortably leading, and detached from outcome. Not because these traits are flashy, but because they signal one thing: safety and strength. When you embody these traits, you become the man she doesn't have to manage. She doesn't have to stabilize your emotions. She doesn't have to give you direction. She doesn't have to lead you. She can relax. And when a woman relaxes around you, attraction becomes inevitable. So, are you him? Not yet. But you can be. Start with emotional self-regulation. The next time she tests you, don't react. Pause. Respond. Build purposeful direction. Get clear on what you're building and why. Lead without dominance. Guide the frame without forcing her into it. And detach from outcome. Be invested but not attached. Master these 4 traits, and you won't need to chase women. They'll feel your energy and gravitate toward it naturally. Like this video if you're ready to step into real masculinity. And subscribe because next week, we're breaking down why women ghost guys they actually like. Let's go.